In a move that stunned fans and the music world, Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, announced his return to live performance in December 1968. The news hit like a thunderclap, breaking just as Elvis finalized his deal with the International Hotel in Las Vegas. This was no ordinary comeback. It was a grand return to the stage after 8 long years of absence. On February 26, 1969, just after wrapping up recording sessions in Memphis, Elvis flew straight to Vegas for publicity photos. He stood alongside the half-built International Hotel, a symbol of his bold new venture. What was even more surprising was that Elvis was not surrounded by his usual team. The only one not donning a construction hat was Elvis himself. He was joined by 2 men, Alex Schufe and Bill Miller, signing papers on the hotel's construction site. Elvis was about to embark on a journey that would change his career forever. Before heading to Vegas, Elvis spent time in Hollywood to film his final movie, Change of Habit. After that, he escaped to Hawaii for a well-deserved break, but his time away was short-lived. By May and June of 1969, he was back in Memphis, making an effort to be more public. He spent evenings at Graceland, his famous home, greeting fans and signing autographs. It was a change from the usual. Elvis's Colonel, known for keeping things tight, seemed surprised by this new openness. Yet, Colonel Parker knew this was necessary. Elvis needed to get used to the crowds again, he said, understanding the importance of this step for the King's comeback. Elvis's comeback was not just about performing, it was a meticulously planned event. For his big return to Las Vegas on July 31, 1969, Elvis took charge himself. Unlike previous comebacks where he had producers and industry veterans guiding him, this time he relied on his instincts and a few trusted friends. His lead guitarist, Charlie Hodge, was one such friend. They had bonded over music in the Army, and now Elvis leaned on Hodge to help shape his comeback show. Choosing the right music was crucial. Elvis didn't follow advice blindly. He worked closely with Charlie Hodge to pick songs that would resonate with both his fans and the new audience he hoped to attract. The band he assembled was a mix of old friends and new faces, carefully selected to bring a diverse sound to his performances. Finding the right musicians proved to be a challenge. Elvis reached out to old collaborators like Scotty Moore and DJ Fontana, but they declined, preferring the comfort and higher pay of studio work in Memphis. This left Elvis to look elsewhere, eventually turning to musicians he had admired from afar. For the lead guitar spot, Elvis chose James Burton. Though they had never met, Burton's unique guitar style and his work with Ricky Nelson resonated with Elvis. Burton agreed to join, impressed by Elvis's genuine interest and respect for his musical abilities. Elvis wanted musicians who could adapt to different styles, from rock to country to operatic ballads. Next came the keyboard player. Initially, Elvis wanted Glenn Hardin, but Hardin had other commitments. Instead, Larry Muhobrak, a Memphis musician, joined the band. Muhobrak's versatility and talent made him the perfect fit. Finding the right rhythm guitarist was tricky. After several rejections, Elvis turned to Ronnie Tutt, a drummer he had a brief encounter with years earlier. Despite initial hesitations, Tutt flew in from Texas for an audition and impressed everyone with his skills and dedication. The bassist, Jerry Scheff, was another story. Initially uninterested due to his jazz background and reservations about Elvis's music, Scheff was convinced by Elvis's charisma and talent. He joined the band, becoming the only non-Southerner in a group of Southern musicians. The drummer, Ronnie Tutt, was the last piece of the puzzle. Despite initial doubts, Tutt's unique style and determination secured him the job. His audition was a testament to his talent and the impact Elvis's comeback had on those around him. Elvis's return to live performing was more than just a comeback. It was a carefully crafted revival, driven by his own vision and the support of a dedicated team. As he prepared to step back onto the stage after 8 years, the music world watched with bated breath, ready to witness the legend's return. Elvis was determined to create an unforgettable live show, and he started by putting together an incredible team of musicians and singers. He wanted two groups, one all women and one all men, to sing behind him. The women would be the Sweet Inspirations, a group he had admired before but couldn't use because they were busy with another star. Instead, he chose the talented group that had worked with Aretha Franklin. They impressed him right away with their powerful voices and quick learning. For the men, Elvis first wanted the Jordanaires, who had worked with him for years. But they turned him down, wanting to keep doing session work in Nashville. So he chose the Imperials, a gospel quartet he had worked with before. Their strong, rich voices added a special touch to his music. Elvis knew his sound came from his roots in gospel music. He wanted his singers to sing with power, not just croon softly. This was something he learned from the gospel quartets he grew up listening to. It was this powerful sound that would make his live show unique. To complete his vision, Elvis assembled a huge orchestra. The music director, Bobby Morris, was given the big task of leading this group. Morris was a skilled drummer who had played with famous names like Louis Prima. He even took classes to learn conducting because he had never done it before. Colonel Parker, Elvis's manager, hired Morris and even got him a new tuxedo for the occasion. However, Colonel Parker wasn't happy about the large group of musicians and singers Elvis had assembled. Most of their costs would come out of Elvis's pocket, and the total payroll for 4 weeks was a huge $80,000. Parker tried to keep the band members at arm's length, not wanting them to think they were too important, but Elvis was set in his ways. He wanted this big ensemble to bring all the different music styles he loved to his show: rock and roll, country, gospel, and more. Rehearsals began 2 weeks before the show opened. Elvis was clear about what he wanted. He didn't want the band just to copy the recordings. He wanted them to play their own style, their own feel. Ronnie Tutt, one of the band members, remembered Elvis saying, "No, man, that's the reason you're here. I want you to play, what you hear." The rehearsals were relaxed and collaborative. Elvis listened to what the band had to say and valued their opinions. James Burton, another band member, said they always tried to make the songs their own. They would talk about tempo and feeling, breaking down the songs and rebuilding them to fit Elvis's vision. The group learned a lot of songs during rehearsals, but they ended up choosing fewer for the show. Elvis and Charlie Hodge worked closely to pick the right songs. They started with some of Elvis's old hits but soon moved to newer, more ballad-like songs that showed off his evolving style. When the Sweet Inspirations first met Elvis, they were impressed by his charm and kindness. He greeted them warmly and even gave each member a kiss on the lips, making Cissy Houston, the lead singer, so excited she nearly fell off her stool. The group found Elvis easy to work with. He gave them guidance but didn't overrule them unless a song didn't feel right. The Imperials, singing gospel background vocals, also found Elvis supportive. They were comfortable with the music and worked well with Elvis's ideas, even though it was new territory for them. Everyone on the team felt Elvis was approachable and genuinely interested in making the show a success. As rehearsals moved to Las Vegas, the Sweet Inspirations and the Imperials joined the band. The atmosphere was joyful and focused. Everyone was excited to bring Elvis's vision to life on stage, combining his love for various music styles into something truly special. In the summer of 1969, Las Vegas was at a crossroads. The city, known for its glitz and glamour, was trying to keep up with big changes happening all around it. While some things were exciting, like humans walking on the moon and music festivals bringing people together, other things made the city feel old-fashioned. Las Vegas was used to having big names like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin drawing in crowds, but now even they seemed a bit out of touch. Elvis Presley's arrival was a big deal. People were super excited to see him perform live after years of just hearing his records. Before Elvis, hotel owners didn't always put a lot of effort into promoting their shows. But Colonel Parker, Elvis's manager, was different. He knew how to make a big splash. He took over the promotion of Elvis's show, plastering the city with signs and ads. He even got souvenirs ready to sell as soon as the show started. Colonel Parker was confident Elvis would fill the seats, even though some people doubted if the average Vegas visitor could afford tickets. But to everyone's surprise, 4 weeks before the show opened, 80% of the seats were sold. People from all over the world wanted to see Elvis. Parker kept pushing, doubling the ads whenever the show sold out. His methods changed how Vegas marketed its big acts. While Elvis was bringing in the crowds, Las Vegas itself was dealing with a tough time. The city was trying to keep up with the fast-paced world outside. Old favorites like Sinatra and Martin were still popular, but they seemed like they belonged to another era. New acts like Tom Jones from Wales and Engelbert Humperdinck were trying to catch the attention of younger audiences. Even Caesar's Palace brought in a play hoping to attract a more modern crowd, though it didn't do too well. Behind all this glamour, two big hotel owners were competing. Kirk Kerkorian was finishing his massive hotel, the International, which he said would be the biggest in the world. Howard Hughes, feeling challenged, was building the Landmark, claiming it would be taller than the International. They both wanted to show who could build the fanciest hotel. In the end, Hughes opened his hotel just 1 day before Kerkorian, calling it the Landmark. It had the more impressive height, but the International was actually taller. Las Vegas was changing, but it wasn't easy. The city was full of contrasts, old and new, traditional and modern. Elvis's visit showed that even legends could draw huge crowds, but the city itself was figuring out its place in a rapidly changing world. As Las Vegas looked to the future, it had to balance holding onto its magic while embracing new ideas and acts to keep being the entertainment capital it aimed to be.